is showing that the Jews and the Israelites were and still are black people today.
Israel in Egypt.
Israel in Egypt. Right?
Let's show the little boy again.
You can see the little boy sitting there, black kid, so-called black kid with an afro sitting on that wagon. He does not look like a white man, a little white Jewish, so-called Jewish kid with locks on the side of his head. These are black people. These are the Israelites in Egypt, which was in captivity under the black nation. Right? Now, if that's not enough for you, we're going to continue on to show you many other pictures.
You can see the one on the ground.
Okay, you can see the one on the ground, distinctly black. Distinctly black.
And the one that's holding the umbrella.
Right, and the one that's holding the umbrella up there by the idol, which looked like a big jackal or a lion or a tiger or something, type of deity gods that they made the Egyptians build and set up in their treasure cities and in their other cities. You can also, if you zoom back a little bit, you'll see what you call the obelisk, which I'm going to speak about that. That's one of the symbols that represents the phallic symbols that came out of Egypt. That even America today has these same symbols, and they worship the phallic symbol. Washington Monument is nothing but an obelisk. The Empire State Building is nothing but an obelisk. A lot of these buildings that are architecturally designed by the so-called white man are nothing but obelisks that represents the sun god Ra-Aman, which is dealing with deities on the left-hand side of the Most High, which is dealing with demons. And it also represents a phallic symbol, which represents the god of fertility. The god of fertility, and also you see later on symbols of women's clitoris and so forth. This is what this all represents and means.
Can I back off of it now?
Okay, you can back off it now. We're going to show you now other symbols in other books that we have. You can bring that book back to example 1. We're going to show you pictures here. When you go to page 96, go to page 96 right quick. Page 96. Without a shadow of a doubt, the Jews were black. Page 96 in that book will show you that that Joseph was in Egypt. Can you hold the mic? Hold the mic, and I'll get you page. You got page 96. Okay, hold that and hold the mic also. What I'm going to show you, the Egyptians were from the seed of Mizraim. That's not their original name. That's a Greek name, Egypt, which means bondage. We was in bondage under the Egyptians. What you see here is the shield of David, representing the Jews in Egypt. One of the main cities in Egypt that the Jews occupied after, later on, during the time that the Greeks took over us, under Alexander the Great, when the Greeks took over in 300 BC, this is many years later, after we came out of captivity under Moses, we went down into we dwelled in the wilderness for 40 years. Then we went into our land, and we established a nation in Israel, took the land of Canaan. We established a nation. Later on, the dispensation of time after the Babylonian, Syrian Babylonian captivity and the Persian captivity of Israel, the Greeks came and conquered the Persian and Mede Empire and established themselves as a maritime power throughout the world. After that period, many Jews were still in Egypt. They were the Jews of Alexandria. So this is one of the symbols showing you that the Jews were in Egypt. This is a symbol of the Jews, the shield of David, or Magen David. Not only that, it's mentioned about Joseph in Egypt. Here's a picture of Joseph on page 96. And we're going to show you his picture, page 96. We read to you earlier in Thomas Mann's book, hold the mic, in Thomas Mann's book that Joseph in Egypt, it was a Negro boy. Here he is right here. What does this say? At the bottom, get the capture.
Hold it a minute.
Joseph and Pharaoh. Now, which one is Joseph and which one is Pharaoh? That's Pharaoh sitting on the throne. That's Joseph. Distinctly a black man of Negroid features, color, skin texture, tone, without a shadow of a doubt. So how in the hell can the Jews leave Israel black and come back white? These white people ought to be ashamed of themselves, running around taking our nationality. Like they call themselves Egyptians. They call themselves Americans. They call them, how can one group of people be everybody? They want to be the Jews. They want to be the Egyptians. They want to be the Africans. They want to be the Persians. They want to be the seed of Japheth, the Europeans, and so forth. They want to be every nation on the planet Earth. But they are nobody but the Edomites. And they're the seed that the Lord called in the Bible, that wicked one, Cain, Debor, Diablo, the devil that the Bible speaks of. And they've taken our nationality and they call themselves Jews today. Look at the pictures on the wall of the servants of the Egyptians, clearly black. These are the Israelite servants. The servants in Egypt were Israelites. Joseph was sitting there in prestigious type of garment because he was highly esteemed in Egypt. Just like you got blacks in this society in America, which is modern day Egypt, highly esteemed in this society. But Joseph was not with that Egyptian garbage. All right? He was just used by the Most High to liberate his people out of the famine and to help his people out of the famine. But he was a great man in Egypt. All right? We're going to show you other pictures from this book. We're going to go to page 99. Okay? I'm going to show you other pictures. Page 99 shows you the Negroid features of the Sphinx. The Negroid built the Negroes, so-called Negroes, which are Israelites in Egypt, built the Sphinx. Different Sphinx figures. Look at the Negroid features. Napoleon Bonaparte in the war, and he went down to Egypt to fight against the Arab domination down there, blew off the nose of the Sphinx down there in Egypt, put dynamite on them and blew it off, explosives, and blew their noses off because he wanted to destroy, he was set out to destroy the black art. And they hated the black features of empires, of figures representing dynasties of black men ruling the earth. From that page, we're going to go to page 144. And what you see, okay, page 143 actually. What you see here is lamentation of a widow of Memphis at the coffin of her husband. These are servants in Egypt. These servants, without a shadow of a doubt, are so-called Negroes. Back then, the customs of the Egyptians was for their servants to shave their heads, and the Egyptians shaved their heads too. A lot of the Egyptians wore wigs. Just like a lot of blacks in America, so-called Negroes wear wigs here, and toupees and so forth, and especially the black woman, because she's lost her hair in this society, she definitely wears a wig. See the servants? Without a shadow of a doubt. You so-called Negroes in America look different from the Africans. Their features, their look, their spirit, is everything, all the way totally different from the so-called Africans. From that page, we're going to go to, from this point, we're going to page 220. What this is showing is during the time of the Arab domination, which is called the Khalifs and the Fatimites era of the rulership of Egypt. We're skipping around, showing you the still occupation of Negroes in Egypt. This is part of the harem that the Arabs had there. The Arabs had their rulership and dynasty around the 900s. They took over. Muhammad came out in the 6th century BC. This is like up around the 900. The Arabs had 6th century AD when Muhammad came out. This is around the 900 AD. The Arabs are still dealing in harems and so forth.
Could I look on them doors? You see shields of David on them doors.
Okay, right. You see shields of David on the doors, showing that the Jews, they still was dealing with the slaves, the Jews and so forth throughout Egypt. Now, the servants and slaves of Israelites during the time of the Arab dominance under the sultans and the caliphs and the Saracen dynasty of the Arab